Hi, Matt with eTrailer. If you have a 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander and you're looking for a carrier that is going to be able to take a whole bunch of bikes from point A to point B and carry a variety of different types, then the Benton Shifts and Grins Bike Rack is going to be a great option for you. So let's check it out. What's also really unique about this carrier is it's a very compact one. You can actually fold its shank up into itself to save you a lot of space. And what's also unique is these last two spots here of the carrier, you can actually take off. So if you need something a little bit more compact while you're driving, you can do that in just a few steps. And what I like most about that is it's going to retain the same weight capacity no matter if it's just 2 or if it's 4 trays. And that's going to be 55 pounds, so it will work with most e-bikes. Now if you go anything above that, then I'd recommend a different carrier because then this could damage something. And speaking about keeping things within its weight capacity, I just recommend just checking what your vehicle and hitch are rated for because this is a pretty heavy carrier. And you put 4 bikes on here, that's going to be a lot of weight on your hitch. So just make sure you know what that is so you don't damage anything there either. And this is still going to have a pretty good tilt feature. And to really use it, all you have to do is come to the very end of it, press this button, super easy to use. But I recommend grabbing this handle at the very end because this is a lot of weight back here. You might even need to grab a friend with you. And as you can see, we're making ground contact, and that's just because how far this goes out. I've actually tried this without that add-on, and this will actually tilt all the way down without making ground contact. But we also have this end to it that's going to be more of a safety feature so you don't damage the end of this just because it does go so far back. But this is going to allow you to open up your hatch. Now this is going to be a really close fit, and what I actually recommend is kind of pulling on your bike a little bit too, just depending on the size of your bike and its handles. So when I open this up, you notice this is pretty close. I'll just pull on that a little bit, and we just barely make it across. This would be a good opportunity for you to either put away some groceries or get ready for your ride. Either grab that helmet, your shoes, and even time right here. And then when you're finished, you can close this back up. Again, I probably want to push on that just a tad bit so we can clear it. And from here, we can lift up on here. Again, that is pretty heavy, so just make sure you grab a friend or you're just being careful when you lift this up. If we want to take a closer look at this rack, I'm going to take off my bike. So where I like to start is with this strap on the rear side. You can do it on the front side too, but I just like to keep it consistent. And then I'll just tuck that behind here. Then on the front side, you'll also notice we do have this rubber padding just to kind of help protect our tires so we don't scratch anything up. And what's cool, you'll notice this knob here too. That actually allows this to travel up and down this tray to accommodate different wheelbases. And from here, we can actually start taking off our bike. And to do that, you're going to actually maintain control of the bike and press on this button here. That will release this wheel hook. This can mount on the frame or the wheel, just depending on what your preference is, or whether or not you have a carbon frame or alternative frame bike. What I really like about this is this hook is completely detachable. So when I'm done with it, I can actually just set this to the side, because sometimes this can get in your way. And then I can push this down, and then from here, lift up on my bike and take it off. You just want to make sure at this point we are putting everything back together and ensuring that we put this hook back on, because we don't want to lose this because you won't be able to hold on your bikes. And also, just putting these straps back down. What some people will do too, since this is kind of loose, they'll actually put this strap around that hook just to hold it down a little bit better. You don't have to do this, but it can help out sometimes. But from here, we get a few measurements. And the first measurement I like to get is going to be the ground clearance. So we're going to go from the furthest point out, and that is going to be at a little bit over 17 inches. So a couple of things to consider with this though is when you have bikes back here, it's probably going to drop down by a few inches, might be even 3 inches. And if you're going up any really steep hills, then you could make some ground contact. Again, that bumper on the bottom will help out with that, but definitely keep an eye on for any really steep slopes. But for how far it sticks out, this is pretty dang far. So If I go from our back bumper to the back of the carrier, that is going to be 53 inches. That's just kind of the case with any of those 4-bike carriers, but you can save space. And the way to do that is going to be folding it up. If you just press this button here and push up, this will fold up to this 90-degree angle and sit right here. And for now, how far it's going to be sitting at is going to be, it's about 16 inches. So that's going to save you a ton of space. Now, the drawback to that is how it's going to be interacting with the vehicle now. So we're going to be blocking most everything back here. So that's going to include your license plate, backup camera, and tail lights. Now, you might be able to see in your backup camera a little bit, but I wouldn't rely on it. And even your back window is going to be obstructed just a little bit. So what's probably going to be the base case scenario for you to use is going to be your mirrors. And the way this is going to install it is we have this 2-inch shank that goes into your 2-inch hitch receiver. We're also going to have this alignment collar to help us out a bit so we can line up that pinhole easier. Now, one thing I do find to be kind of difficult with this is trying to tighten this knob down because your bumper is probably going to get in your way just a little bit. But after the first time tightening it down, it'll be far more easier to use. And then talking about that pinhole, we're going to have this anti-rattle bolt that comes through and connects to a nut. Now, you can actually get an etrailer locking version of this. We have this on our website, but it's not going to come with your kit. And essentially, it's going to be the same thing, only we're going to have that additional lock core at the very end that comes with 2 keys. And like I said, you can take off this add-on or this extension. It's pretty easy. All you have to do is pull out that pin and clip. Sometimes it doesn't come out that easy, but this time it did. And we can just loosen up this knob at the very back of it. I recommend doing it in this position because I find it a little bit easier to access this knob. And you just loosen this up until you'll find a point where it's just repeating that same process. It's not really doing anything else. Sometimes wiggling it too can also help this process. Just get a better feed through. And once this is fully loosened up, there we go. Then I can just simply pick this up and take it towards me, just like that. As you can see, this is pretty compact, doesn't take up too much room. Now you can take off this whole entire bike rack, if you like, with that on or off. The only issue with that is that's going to weigh quite a bit. So taking off that add-on piece is going to make this process a bit easier unless you have a friend. And I already removed my pin and clip, so I can take this off. And from this point, we can actually make this more compact. To do that, I'm just going to press this very back of it, pull this pin, push on it a bit, and then pull this shank towards itself. As you can see, this doesn't take up very much room at all. You're not going to be tripping over your shank now either. In my opinion, I think this is a solid choice, especially if you're looking for a bike rack that can handle a lot of bikes of some pretty heavy weight capacities. Especially if you plan on going out with your family, this is going to be one of the perfect racks for you. It's not going to take up very much space in your garage, and we'll be able to carry a variety of different styles of bikes. But that was just a look at the Benton Shifts and Grins bike rack on the back of our 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander. I'm Matt. Thanks for watching.